Yo, so following on from part one of the cause chain event, I was gonna put this in one video, but I thought, fuck it, I'll just make it two because they're two separate points, but they're both pretty important. This one is also important. It, it's like, as your progression as a trader grows on, right? Your like ability to the more information you absorb, it goes up, right? So you're learning more and more shit. You're exposed to more and more ideas, right? Let's say you just start off as a price action trader, right? Maybe then you go onto CT and you see someone using VWAPs, and you're like, oh, this looks cool. This guy's using it well. And then you move on to VWAPs. You start incorporating VWAPs. Then you see someone using EMAs. Then you see someone using market profile. Then you see someone using flow, right? And you start learning about all of these things, right? So as you go through time, your information goes up. You learn more and more and more. And what a big mistake that people make is they try and incorporate all of these things without having a strong baseline, right? Without having something to resort to. Often amplified by having very weak foundation, right? A very weak foundational understanding. What do I mean by this? I mean like legit the most basic things about like how does the market work? How does the market work? Diff types of participants. How do different types of orders, right? Because all these things are like so important to understanding any of these, right? If you don't know this, your understanding of this is going to be very hard. And like with a house, right? You have a strong foundation, so you can build more on it, build strongly on it, right? This is imperative. They have a strong foundation to understand it. But a lot of people know that, and they still make errors in trying to over optimize setups that they don't have enough like experience with. For example, they might start off with a price action trader. Right, here we go. I'm going to trade sweeps only. This is how it, right? But then what happens is they start incorporating things like maybe a fib, maybe start incorporating a volume profile, EMAs, all this, all this. And by the time they're looking at 10 different things or 20 different things, right? And then they get fucked by analysis paralysis. And it's too much. And I gave this example before, is that if you're a fat cunt, right, you don't try to go gym 4 hours a day, cardio, strength, uh, go on a huge calorie deficit, plus keto. You don't do all of this stuff, right? All you do is you just try to walk. Just try to walk. Maybe cut out soda. Do this consistently, then move on and add layers on top, right? It's the same thing in trading. If you don't have one setup you can go back to and you have this as a strong point, you're going to be fucked. You can't improve. And my advice, at least nowadays, is just simply trade ranges, right? Have a simple trading. Everyone knows this fucking works. All you need to define is, right? You have a POI, right? Range sweep. So then you need a range. So you need some like strict rule surrounding how you draw range, right? Execution. How's your execution be based on? Is it going to be flow based? Is it going to be trend line based? Is it going to be EMA based? Is it going to be volume based? Maybe RVol, all these different things, right? And that's all you nail, and you keep nailing this, right? And then so your exit as well. Your exit, what's this going to be based on, right? And so you do this, and you develop like a system where you just take screenshots of this over and over and over again, right? You see a range here, what you do, you take a screenshot of it, right? Before you enter, right? You can draw an R tool on it, right? Here you go, boom. You do this, you say, hey, this is my range, this is my mid range, this is the way I've drawn it. There's a high here, I think this high is going to be taken, boom. You screenshot this, right? And then maybe you want to annotate on the fucking chart and say, this is where my TP is going to be. I entered because of this. I drew the range because of this. Boom, you do this. And then once the trade's played out, you fucking take a screenshot, right? Whatever happens. Let's say the price comes into this gap, it dies, and you take it out. But at least you have data on this exact fucking setup that's replicatable, right? It's fucking replicatable. Can you like replicate your setup over and over and over again if you go back to here, right? I should do random just to get the point across, right? If you go here, can you find a range in the exact same manner that I'm on the 15 second? I just realized. Can you find a range in the exact same manner, right? Can you find a range here? Can you go, hey, this looks like a range. We made a low, we made a high, we swept the low, bang, I'm long, right? I'm targeting here, mid range, right? This is my trade setup. And then on the inverse for short, sure, you can do the same shit. Can you draw this exact same range over and over and over again? Right, I'm looking at this PA here, right? And once you have this, you can add another layer. You can say, okay, price is going to my mid-range, right? Price is going to mid-range, let's say 50% of the time. And on average, it's like a 1.5R, right? But then because of your screenshots, right? The trade's unfolded, you've taken a screenshot of it, you can see that like, okay, this went to the, instead of this just going to mid-range, this actually went all the way to the range highs, right? And now you have another level of data. You can say price is going to mid-range about 50% of the time, average 1.5R. And you can say it goes to range highs, or you can just do range extreme, maybe 30% of the time. But this is equal to like a 3R trade, right? And now you have a system that's profitable, right? And you can fine tune this, right? Depending on, hey, maybe you entered here and your stop was here. Okay, my stop's too tight because it went to the mid range and also went to the full range. But my stop was the issue. Okay, so now you start widening your stops. But maybe this wicks out, right? Maybe this wicks out and then it comes back in. And now you're like, okay. And maybe this happens 20 times. Of the last, like, you have screenshotted this exact trade 50 times. And this exact occurrence where trade stops you out and then reclaims happens, I don't know, let's say 20 times, right? There you go. That's pretty significant. So then you want to change it. You're going to try, okay, instead of this wick here, I'm going to times this wick by 1.5. So let's say this is 0.5%. I'm going to change this to 0.75%, right? And we're going to see the results now. And now you keep repeating that. You're going to take screenshots of this occurring. The mid-range, same stats. The range high, same stats. Of course, your win rate will go up. Your win rate will go up, right? But your return will be down. So then you compare this, right? Maybe you have 100 trades trading this way with a tighter stop, right? And you have 100 trades with a wider stop. If you want to be even more like efficient with how you go about that, you just say you can trade in one way and just keep in mind the other way. Take a screenshot of this, right? And maybe you have something where you're like, outcome of stop 1, outcome of stop 2, right? And go. You have these two stats and you keep doing it, and you keep collecting it. And soon enough, you just have a profitable system. And once you've done that, right, you can start experimenting with more shit, right? Maybe you want a system that incorporates, you see, hey, you know what? When I draw a range, let's say this is your range low, right? And this is my range high. I've seen very often price will internally sweep structure. It doesn't always go to the range low immediately, but often we'll get a move from the range high, range low. We'll often get a move into the range mid, right? So maybe you see this happen a lot, and then you want to structure a trade around this. So it's forming observations, right, on the market, and you're forming this. How can I structure a trade around it? Observations of the market. How can I structure a trade, and then you're going to optimizing your setup, or I guess creating and then optimizing the setup. Optimizing the setup, right? And once you've done this, now maybe you have two profitable setups, right? You have a range extreme sweep and you have an internal range sweep. And maybe you create a rule, and you're like, hey, you know what? Maybe you find out that, okay, this is 75 quartile, this is 25 quartile. The best ranges that occur, so the best internal sweeps that occur are always either in this area here, right? The upper 25 or the lower 25, right? Let's say there's an internal sweep just under the 50. Maybe you collect data and you're like, you know what, this setup's fucking shit. It works so much less than anything in these areas, right? If there's an internal sweep in this area, this has a high probability of working, there's edge in it, has positive expectancy, this is all I'm interested in taking, right? And once you format two setups for that, you don't have two setups, right? With two setups, you have what? A range SFP, you have a range internal sweep, right? Within 25% percentile or something. I guess you can put lower 25%, upper 75% percentile, right? So now you have two setups. Maybe you want to refine this further, and you're like, these setups work really well, but I don't have anything with the market trends. So with the market trends, you fucking find a setup and you add to it. But in the background, you're trading these. So you're making money from these, and then you're working on a new setup. The same way you're trading this, and you're using your observations with this to make a new setup. So now you have these two setups for mean reversions. And then you're using observations from this to create a new trending setup. Right? And there you go. That's really fucking trading in a nutshell. And I don't know what the fuck so many people are doing and how they find it so hard, and why they keep making mistakes in regards to creating a setup. But it's because they're doing too much. They have too many fucking variables going on. Too many things. I should have fucking taken this trade,